Today we're going to be talking about Unit 6, which deals with the African continent. It's chapters 18 through 20, and chapter 18, as it usually does, talks about the physical geography of Africa, and our first page will go to number 10. Africa is the world's second largest continent. Most of the continent lies about 1,000 feet above sea level. An explanation for that is that it's a huge plateau that covers most of Africa. Africa's most prominent feature is the plateau. As a result, sometimes it's referred to as the plateau continent. It also has several huge basins, which are depressions. Each is more than 625 miles across and as much as 5,000 feet deep. Africa is also known as the dark continent. Not for what people might think, but because it used to be very much a mystery as to what was inside. It was so vast, the jungles, people really didn't know what was there, so it was referred to as the dark continent. The world's longest river, of course, found in Africa is the Nile River. It flows more than 4,000 miles. Other rivers include the Congo. The Congo itself is over 2,900 miles long. And then there's also the Niger. Along the Congo, 32 cataracts makes large portions of the river impassable. 95% of Egyptians live or depend on the Nile for their water. If you look at a population density map, you can see the line of the Nile where all of these people are living. 3,320 people per square mile live along the Nile River. The rest of Egypt, it's only 216 people per square mile. You can also see in this picture about 500 yards from the river on both sides. People are growing crops, they're irrigating, and in world history we talk about that as being the gift of the Nile, is the water that it provides and thus the life. So obviously the Nile up in the northeast part of Africa. Here's the Congo itself, a very large river, the Niger, and there are obviously other rivers. Okay, Rift Valley is a long, thin valley, over 4,000 miles long. This is the most distinctive landforms can be found in East Africa, created millions of years ago. In world history, we talk a lot about this region with early man, and many artifacts, bones are found in this region. Some lakes formed at the bottom of these valleys. So if you look at the continent of Africa, Lake Victoria is over there, Lake Tanganyika, Lake Nyasa. There are a few other smaller ones that are located in that rift. Lake Tanganyika is the longest freshwater lake in the world, 420 miles long, 4,700 feet deep. And Lake Victoria, Africa's largest lake, world's second largest freshwater lake, and it's 26,564 square miles, however only about 270 feet deep. Mount Kilimanjaro is Africa's highest mountain, over 19,000 feet, and also Mount Kenya, and both of those are volcanoes or extinct volcanoes. We have an escarpment. This is a steep slope with a nearly flat plateau up on top. The Great Escarpment marks the edge of the continent's plateau in southern Africa. Pretty amazing feature there. Okay, Africa has large amounts of minerals. Again, because of its size, just like Russia, but just because of the vast size, it's bound to have these. It's the largest producer of chromium, which is basically like a stainless steel. Cobalt is a high-grade steel for aircraft and industrial engines, and it produces 50% of the world's cobalt. Platinum, 80% of the world's total, and 30% of the world's gold. There's also some of the leading oil-producing nations in the world found there. For example, Nigeria, Libya, and Algeria. And Angola, sorry. And that's about 1/10 of the world's oil. Other minerals, resources, copper, phosphates, diamonds, and again, there are others, many others found there. Other resources include coffee. This is their most profitable crop. Interesting statement that few Africans drink coffee, but they grow 10% of the world's supply. I thought that was pretty interesting. Lumber, Ethiopia ranks 8th in the world in lumber exports. They've got sugar, palm oil, cocoa. The country of Côte d'Ivoire is the world's largest exporter of cocoa beans. Again, Côte d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast, it's the same name. Just agriculture is the single most important economic activity for the people living in Africa. Farm products account for about 1/3 of all their exports, which again I find kind of interesting because we kind of think about Africa as being lacking in food and people starving and malnourished and that type of thing. Maybe they're just lacking in the right or appropriate types of food. And that some of the crops, the farm crops that they are exporting are things that aren't necessarily needed in abundance by the people. The Sahara Desert. This is the largest desert in the world. It's about the same size as the continental United States, which is just amazing, an amazing statement. The word Sahara actually means desert in Arabic, and 3,000 miles east to west, 1,200 miles north to south. The Sahara is the largest in the world. Other deserts include the Kalahari. So the Sahara is in the north, and so here's the Sahara. Then in the south, you've got the Kalahari and the Namib deserts. In these deserts, temperatures can range anywhere from, as much as 130 degrees in the summertime. So a lot of people think that, when you hear a desert, that you think of this, and that's not necessarily the case. Only about 20% of the Sahara is actually sand. There are mountains, rock formations, gravelly plains that make up the rest of that desert. So there's many areas that look like this, where you've got these rocky formations and gravelly plains. Okay, an aquifer, this is a huge store of underground water, and an oasis, pretty common, well-known thing. These are places where water comes to the surface, and so usually you have these little pockets of vegetation where the water has made it to the surface. Africa has the largest tropical area of any continent. Again, another kind of surprising statement, where most people think of South America as a tropical rainforest. But as you look at this map of Africa, you can see this green area, and there's a large amount of land crossed by the equator right there, probably the most in the world. And so Africa does have a large amount of rainforest. We may not think it looks like much because, again, the size of Africa compared to South America. Serengeti Plain, this is an area of some of the best grassland in the world, and as a result of that, also contains many grazing animals. Kind of the a typical thing that you think about when you hear Africa. Some sparse trees, again, not very many, just here and there. The savanna and these large amounts of animals. This picture just shows a few of the maybe more well-known animals that can be found there. I don't have the lion on there. That's considered one of the big five, along with rhino, elephant, water buffalo, and probably hippo would be maybe considered the big five. So that finishes our first page. Thank you.